Someone has to document it. The warning that death conveys. I present to you a scene from my time spent as a detective for many years. Death doesn't come suddenly. It's just that we ignored the signals for too long. On a winter morning about 20 years ago, a death report was received at the local police station at 4:20 a.m. The reporter, a woman in her 60s, said,
"It's the police station. My husband collapsed in the bathroom and isn't breathing.
"Please come quickly." The scene upon arrival was tidy. There were no signs of trauma, and the overall scene was well organized. However, while investigating and checking the interior, I found a pill packet on the vanity in the master bedroom. Inside the pill bottle was the diabetes medication, metformin. The skin was dry and the lips were white and chapped. Although it was before the autopsy, I already had a rough idea of what had happened. This incident seems to be caused by a rapid increase in blood sugar levels, leading to death. As usual, an autopsy was conducted by the National Forensic Service to determine the exact cause of death, and the autopsy results showed a blood sugar level of 700 milligrams per dl. The cause of the rapid increase in ketone levels was diabetic ketoacidosis, a metabolic acidosis due to insulin deficiency. To put it a bit more simply, according to the response from the forensic department, the sugar in the body couldn't enter the cells to produce energy, which ultimately caused the blood to become acidic. Breathing becomes difficult, consciousness is lost, and the heart stops. During the autopsy, the forensic doctor from the National Institute of Scientific Investigation
briefly mentioned that the deceased likely experienced severe dehydration and lethargy starting 2 to 3 days before death.
So, when we investigated with the family,
the deceased's wife stated that he had been craving water excessively for a few days. He only drank water all day and didn't eat a single spoonful of food. At that time, I should have forcibly taken him to the hospital, but even when I suggested going to the hospital, he insisted, "I'm fine, I'll get better after a few days." I couldn't break his stubbornness.
most bereaved families say the same thing.
I didn't know back then. I thought my father was just tired, but that tiredness was actually a precursor to death.
And people realize it too late. The incident was concluded without criminal charges due to death caused by the worsening of a chronic illness, but my heart has never truly accepted that ending. I have always been convinced that if people paid a little more attention and quickly caught the subtle, unusual behaviors or warning signs of their loved ones, such tragedies could be prevented. At that time, it was just a vague thought, but now I am finally able to share this clue with you. According to a report from the Korean Diabetes Association, if medication is not taken for more than 3 days, the risk of blood sugar rising sharply and progressing to ketoacidosis increases by more than 10 times. Everyone, please remember that metformin is not a drug that produces insulin, but rather a medication that helps your body respond better to insulin. So do not neglect your medication. Now please listen carefully. The main warning signs are as follows: extreme thirst and frequent urination, rapid weight loss, a fruity smell from the mouth, abdominal pain, vomiting, extreme fatigue, and dry skin that becomes flaky and itchy. Eventually, if it progresses to ketoacidosis, you may experience breathing abnormalities and decreased consciousness. If you experience these symptoms, you must go to the hospital immediately and receive the necessary treatment. If you stop taking your medication, the only risk is that your blood sugar will rise. But if you try to endure without medication, your life will come to a halt. If you dismiss minor warning signs as nothing serious, you may end up losing yourself or your loved ones forever. If any of our family members have underlying conditions or chronic illnesses, be sure to pay attention and look for any minor changes in behavior or unusual symptoms. This time, I will share preventive measures to help you avoid diabetic ketoacidosis. So please make sure to put them into practice. First of all, please make sure to drink water frequently, even if you have to force yourself. The cause of ketoacidosis is the surge of ketones due to the concentration of blood caused by dehydration. As a result, this leads to a chain reaction in the human body, where acidic substances like acetone, beta-hydroxybutyric acid, and acetoacetic acid are produced in large quantities. You must drink at least 2 liters of water daily and regularly to prevent dehydration. This habit can help prevent half of the issues in this situation. The second point is that you should not stop taking insulin just because you feel healthier and find it bothersome. In particular, there are cases where people skip insulin when they have a cold or infection, are under stress, lack sleep, or have eaten less or skipped meals. Regardless of meal quantity, you must maintain your insulin. In short, if you stop insulin just because your blood sugar has dropped a little, ketones will increase explosively. The third point is that infections should be treated early. The reason is that when an infection occurs, blood sugar can suddenly spike and insulin becomes almost ineffective compared to usual. Therefore, early treatment of infections has excellent preventive effects. Fourthly, it is important to avoid excessive intake of carbohydrates. You should control the intake of fast-absorbing foods like fruits, rice cakes, beverages, and snacks as much as possible. Fifthly, maintain regular eating habits to avoid fasting in the early morning. Surprisingly, high blood sugar can occur even during fasting in the early morning hours. Additionally, going to bed right after having a late-night snack or binge eating can lead to high blood sugar and worsen ketoacidosis. In short, it is not high blood sugar that leads to death, but rather ketones burning the body, so please remember this point. Finally, I will tell you 3 things you need to check immediately if your blood sugar exceeds 250 mg/dL while checking your blood sugar daily. While a rise in blood sugar alone is not fatal, the risk of death increases sharply if ketones also start to rise. Therefore, conduct a urine ketone test and continuously monitor your blood pressure. Additionally, observe for signs of dehydration to prevent reaching a critical situation. As a detective, I have witnessed countless deaths, but half of them could have been prevented. This death was not a crime. However, it was a mistake named negligence and indifference. Everyone, do not ignore the signals your body sends. Thirst, fatigue, weight changes, and rapid breathing are the body's final distress signals. The small changes in a loved one are the last signals that protect life. Never miss it. Attention is love. Over the past 25 years as a detective, I have witnessed many farewells. Among them, there were so many people who could have stayed if only there had been some interest. Now that time has passed, I want to take those small signals out of the files of memory and share them with you. I want to be a small light for everyone who wants to live healthily and happily. This is the survival file of the last clue from Cheongdampol. And if you would like to investigate the last clue that protects life with me, please join me with your subscription and likes. I'll see you in the next survival file. This has been Detective Paul. Thank you.